on. Well, good morning, Marie. And how are you this fabulous morning, Sunday?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing today?
Oh, watching my Blue Jays outside the window, getting all of our stuff lined up here. We'll wait a
Oh,
couple more seconds here and wait till we get some viewers online. I'm thinking that, this is the first weekend of fall, Marie, so might have a lot of stragglers beating
well,
themselves
can't blame
to
them.
bed. It's
It's
chillier now.
beautiful out. It's really nice out though today, so I wouldn't blame them if they're out there hanging out. Maybe they'll catch this later in the day if they're not on there watching right now. But you know
Right?
us, we're just trying to point things out as we try to muddle through everything ourselves in the CBRM.
Well, that's about it too, muddling through. So today is kind of a nitpicking, and the puzzle will make sense as we go along. So bear with us.
Yeah.
Sometimes the puzzles are harder to build than what we would like, and we would like to just have everything straightforward, but things aren't always straightforward. Okay, unless you're with the right people. All right. So for now, you're going to go ahead and start us with a article that has been done by CBC. So this is a CBC. CBRM mayor breached code of conduct, and it's got a few issues going on inside of this particular. Go ahead, Marie. Let them have it.
Yeah. Basically, this is a continuation of last week in a strange way, letting people know this is why we think things are a little iffy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
CBRM mayor breached code of conduct during dust up over Canada Day. Council decides. So this was done by Aaron Potty, February 28th of this year. Members of Cape Breton Regional Council have ruled their mayor breached the municipality's code of conduct for elected officials during heated discussions over Canada Day celebrations in 2022. The decision follows a complaint made by Cape Breton Regional Municipality Councillor and former Deputy Mayor Erlene McMullen. During the special council meeting on Monday, McMullen said she brought her concerns forward so they could be properly dealt with. As an elected representative, as a person around this table, I expect to be treated with respect, said McMullen. I expect to be treated with dignity. And if I have a question or I want to bring something to task, which is exactly what I'm getting paid for, that's what I'm here to do. And I should be able to do that without having to worry about getting smacked with insults. McMullen alleges that Mayor Amanda McDougall engaged in inappropriate interpersonal behavior. She also provided several email exchanges to outline her concerns. A rift between McMullen and the mayor was exposed last summer in a debate over Canada Day festivities in the municipality. Some councillors, including McMullen, say they were unfairly called racists in an email exchange after questioning the decision to call July 1st events Night of Lights, amid call from Indigenous groups across the country to reconsider Canada Day and the legacy of residential schools. It was sparked by an interview with a member of CBRM's Recreation Department about the name change. McMullen obtained a document, which we're going to show you guys, through a Freedom of Information request that appears to show an email exchange between the mayor and several people the mayor describes as advisors. I believe that this conversation proves previous discussions between the mayor, a staff member, and 3 external parties took place regarding the opinions and contributions of myself and fellow council members regarding Canada Day, McMullen wrote in her request for council to investigate. The exchange was sent to McDougall's municipal email, several email addresses outside the municipal government, as well as several email addresses outside the government. One response sent to McDougall suggested speaking points to raise the issue with councillors. Perhaps it's possible for you at the July council meeting to say something like, it has been brought to my attention that some members of our community and our council are upset with the handling of Canada Day this year, the email states. Now, we'll read that to you a little in just a bit.
Yeah,
Seeking outside advice. After a CBC interview aired, some residents contacted councillors to complain that Canada Day was being cancelled, leading to an email exchange with councillors questioning why they were not involved in the decision.
So, just before we go any further, Does anybody else think that it's odd that if you have a mayor, a deputy mayor, 12 councillors, that you are literally going outside of your own group that is supposed to have all these decisions discussed inside of that council, and she has an outside council seeking you know information's coming from not the council, not
Yeah.
the deputy mayor. This is outside of that realm. All right, so we just want to be clear on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're private advisors, right? That don't have any reason to be involved in our day-to-day in the
No,
CBRM
they
decisions
do
is
have a
what they do.
reason. It's just a
Well,
personal
they shouldn't be telling her
mistake.
what to do.
Yes. So they have no business being her advisors
Right.
because they are not on council and they are not privy to the information she's sharing with them. So go ahead.
Shouldn't be. McDougall said she sought advice from her advisors after receiving an email from someone who included a news article intended to disprove the deaths of Indigenous children linked to the residential school system. But McDougall said she never shared the opinions or information authored by CBRM Council. I have a number of trusted colleagues and personal advisors I turn to for advice and oftentimes support when I'm trying to work through challenges. This group ranges from government employed advisors to academics with specific skill sets and knowledge I can tap into, she said. What is the council for in this case, right?
Yeah.
Victory for mayor. This annoys me. CBRM councillors then met without McDougall or McMullen to deliberate on the two arguments. A majority of them decided that based on balance of probability, McDougall breached the code of conduct by disseminating council information of an outside party. There will be no punishment, but a written warning issued to McDougall. She was also asked to apologize to McMullen, which she promptly did. However, there was a victory for McDougall on Monday. Council decided she had not breached the municipality code of conduct in relation to a set of emails exchanged between McMullen and McDougall. In that conversation, McMullen was questioning the mayor about her handling of meetings to discuss issues related to a housing initiative. McMullen found the mayor's response disrespectful. However, council did not find the exchange broke any protocols. Following the meeting, McDougall accepted the council's decision. I think it's fair. I think it's good. Everybody got to air the frustrations and concerns, and now we have resolved and we can move on. Like,
I'm going to go back and repeat. McMullen was questioning the mayor about her handling of meetings to discuss issues relating to a housing initiative. So this again bounces back to last week when we had mentioned the Rapid Housing Initiative and how New Dawn became involved in that. Well, before it was ever announced to the public, which is kind of unusual, the decision was already made, which we're going to show you. We're going to show you an email chain that took place well before the public ever knew any announcement was happening. They knew that this was happening and they already knew who was going to get the winning bid. All right. So these type of things are not supposed to happen. This is exactly breach of conduct, and it's exactly a slap in the face to the public. Imagine 4 different companies, okay, 4 companies in total put in for the initiative, and it was a waste of 3 out of the 4's time because everybody knew that that particular New Dawn was going to be awarded that, and it was just put on for a smoke and mirror show so that it could look like it was a fair and due process. There was nothing fair about it. They were awarded the bid before it even went public, which is, wow, that's scandalous. Okay, so go ahead, Marie. Sorry.
no, not at all. I'm looking at the documents here that, that hyperlink, if people want to press it, or if I'm not sure if you're going to put it in the comments below, all of the emails so people can look through them themselves, because we're not going to read each and every one. No, but there's certain ones that are really important for people to understand. There's some detail in there that maybe people aren't really privy to know, because unless you're actually watching the news every day and paying attention to the CBRM and what way they come up with their decision making and everything, you may not know how this worked, right?
So we're going to jump to the Cape Breton Spectator, our favorite writer.
Oh,
which
you want to go to the one? Good old Mary.
The local Nancy Drew. We love Mary to death because she's a fabulous writer and the way she writes is just amazing. So let's go ahead with Conduct Unbecoming and see what Mary from the Spectator has to say.
All right. So Conduct Unbecoming. I have a sister just a year younger than me, and when we were kids, while we mostly got along, we sometimes, being human beings, fought. When we did it within earshot of our father, he would immediately break into a chorus of the most annoying song ever written. It was called Sisters, Sisters, and his rendition of it went like this. Sisters, sisters, never were there such devoted sisters, caring, sharing every little thing that they were wearing. I've since discovered I have Irving Berlin to thank for it. The song invariably had the effect of making my sister and I forget our beef with each other and turn our ire on Dad, exactly as he had intended us to do. He found us being angry at him funny, and eventually we'd come around to his point of view, and peaceful relations would be restored. Why am I talking about this? Because I wish someone would have locked Mayor Amanda McDougall Merrill and District 2 Councillor Erlene McMullen in a conference room together and sung Sisters, Sisters to them until they got over their beef with each other and got on with the work of governing the CBRM. They are sisters in a way, in the feminist way. In the CBRM has only 7 female councillors and 1 female mayor in its almost 25 years of existence. Way in the little girls are watching you way, in the you are setting our cause back 100 years way. I watched Monday's council session, during which McMullen's complaints about the mayor were given a full airing, the way I used to watch the British version of The Office. Through my fingers, the optics of the only 2 women on council having their squabbles adjudicated by all the men was so very cringe. I am not even going to try to wade through that she said and she said. Both the CBC and the Post have covered the actual details of the dispute and the resolution. Council decided the mayor had breached the CBRM's code of personal conduct in her communications with McMullen over last year's Canada Day kerfuffle, but had done nothing wrong in meeting with New Dawn about RHI funding.
RHI is the Rapid Housing Initiative. Sorry.
Right. And for whatever reason, anyway, they didn't find any problem with that. If I understood correctly, although I may not have, and I don't care, and I need to move on. Like, Mary was really ticked that the 2 women, why are you doing that? And the men had to adjudicate this. Like, how offensive. I mean,
she's right. How 100 years ago is that? For real.
Here are the 2 things I do want to talk about, both of which turned up in the email evidence submitted in the case. Bomb-ass speech. We're going to read this to you in a bit. This particular email where this is mentioned. Mayor McDougall Merrill explained that she is in the habit of consulting with a group of advisors outside of council when issues arise that she feels are beyond her scope of knowledge. I think this is fine, provided, as was discussed during Monday's meeting, she's careful about the information she chooses to share in her consultations. But I don't think the mayor can turn to just anyone in these situations. Specifically, I don't think the mayor can turn to officials with an organization that regularly petitions the CBRM for assistance. I'm referring here to New Dawn Enterprises, which just successfully petitioned the municipality for land for a rapid housing initiative project under the project funding stream, and is competing with funding for another project under the city's stream, administered by the municipality. To me,
how does it make sense that she's got an outside advisor? Erica Shea is one of these outside advisors, and yet she's also one of these friends of hers that's petitioning, like the article said, for money. And they know that they've given them that $5 million. And we're going to show you emails that they were definitely getting that $5 million well before it was announced to the public, well before there was any other proposals put in. And it was very hard for them not to look biased and crooked when it did get announced to the public. And that's why they didn't know what to do with it and wanted to send it back, because they were scared they were going to get bit in the ass by fraud or by colluding, and just being.
Well, that's what we think. Yeah, it seems pretty bad when you look at the whole picture of it, and that's why we're bringing that to you, because I don't believe a lot of people know about these emails.
No, I don't think so either. And they came to us after we had done last week's show. We're sorry that we're a bit late with it, but they're very important, and you're going to be outraged when you see what that was said in these emails.
Well, you should be anyway, unless, of course, you like a crooked municipality and just like for it to continue on with giving to its hand-chosen CEOs and friends of mayor, maybe council. We don't know, but this is one situation where they were actually caught in it, and we want you to be aware of it, right? So
it gets better. Go ahead, Marie. Sorry.
So no worries. Okay. So to me, that puts the CEO of New Dawn, Erica Shea, off limits as an advisor to the mayor. It isn't just about actual conflicts of interest. It's about the appearance of conflicts of interest. And this has the appearance of a conflict of interest. I don't think Shea should be putting words in the mayor's mouth or writing her speeches, as judging by this email from Shea to McDougall Merrill, she does. Like what she writes here, perhaps it's possible for you at the July council meeting to say something like, it has been brought to my attention that some members of our community and our council are upset with the handling of Canada Day this year, and then a bomb-ass speech by you on all this bullshit that we volunteer to write for you.
Now, hold on. Now, this is Erica Shea writing to the mayor, okay, our mayor, and she's writing the mayor's speeches so that when we get the mayor's words, they're Erica Shea's words. Does that sound right? No.
Like, I understand, like, sometimes you will have an advisor, you will have someone to help you, but this is actually the CEO who did receive that. This is the actual corporation that's a supposedly nonprofit that received that Rapid Housing Initiative Fund without looking at any other.
And so many other piles of money, of government money that they've been given throughout the years. So
they're going for the municipality one, they went for the provincial one, and they keep getting them. So what about Transition House and like the Glace Bay and the nonprofit and New Waterford? And it goes on, right? But anyway, so basically, we'll read that little email to you in a minute anyways. I just reread it and it makes me deeply uncomfortable, although it did teach me the phrase bomb ass, which apparently means to be extremely awesome or godlike. So there's that. Besides this, in this particular case, which involved questions around residential schools, which is what the Canada Day kerfuffle was at its heart about, why wouldn't you look for advice from members of the 2 First Nations communities within the boundaries of your own municipality? But enough, I will move on to the second point about which I am possibly even more annoyed. And that's something where, it's about David Delaney, and that's her own personal opinion. I don't know if you want to get into the David Delaney thing, because that's her own personal thing. And for us, we have our own personal opinions as it is. We're not going to give other people's personal opinions too. So that's up for you guys to do for us. Give us your personal opinions on what you think is going on here.
To the juicy tidbits, the emails. All right, so bear with me here and we'll get the emails on the screen. So this is what really caught me and Marie's attention, and we couldn't stop thinking about these emails all week long. So
because we're just such interesting people, but seriously, it's because we know when there's something wrong, right? And it's like we're made to look fools because we know something's wrong, and there's no way we can really prove it exactly sometimes. And in this case, you can see it for yourself. This is the way things are operating behind the scenes when we're all at home thinking we're good old taxpayers just paying them for what we think they're doing is helping us out. And it seems they're all helping themselves out, helping their friends out, and all conversing about things behind the scenes when it's supposed to be, at the very least, with the council members. They should all know what she is discussing when it has anything to do with our CBRM. So which one do you want to start with? Which page, girl?
Let's go with page 5. Now, these emails are in the first document that Marie read from the CBRM, the CBC article, CBRM Mayor Breach of Conduct. If you go into that particular article from the CBC, you will find the link that has this. It's listed as documents. It's a hyperlink. Select it, and you can read along with us and follow as we go, all right?
Little underlined document. Okay.
There's 57 of them, and they're a little bit repetitive, and we're just going to pick out the important ones. All right, go ahead, Marie.
The ones that are most, Okay, so this one is actually from Arlene to all of council, and it is on January 11th of 2023 because it's after the holiday. She didn't want to bring this up before, as she had said. So, good evening, council. I am reporting what I believe to be a breach of our code of conduct by Mayor McDougall under interpersonal behavior. I've been made aware on December 12th, 2022 of an email discussion received from a third party to Mayor McDougall on June 28th, 2022. I'm also including the email response to me dated 2022, to which all of council have already been copied as part of the original discussion. June 28th, 2022 email. In relation to the first email attachment of June 28th, 2022, I believe that this conversation proves previous discussions between the mayor, a staff member, and 3 external parties took place regarding the opinions and contributions of myself and fellow council members to the email thread regarding Canada Day. It is also beyond a doubt that the mayor was well aware of both the sensitivity and possible severity of the issue facing some of her colleagues as she reached out to the human rights officer that same morning of the 28th. In that inquiry, the mayor personally brought forward a complaint to the office of the Nova Scotia Human Rights Officer of racial insensitivity by council members to a staff member based on the Canada Day email thread. There would be no other way that the third parties would be privy to a conversation on Canada Day or the stance of some council members unless they had been informed privately, as the discussion did not go public. until our meeting on July 12th, 2022. I will not speak for anyone but myself, but in my opinion, this email and proof of discussion does not show dignity on the mayor's part, nor does it provide me, a member of this council, any show of understanding or respect. To be honest, I feel humiliated. Now, the second part of it is the part that it still disturbs me more than the first.
Right?
The RHI meeting email. On December 20th, 2022, I sent an email to mayor and council addressing what I believe to be misinformation regarding an RHI city funding meeting. My email was factual to the information I was provided, as well as recap of actual events of our meeting. I concluded that serious conversations would be required. I still believe that is the case, as once again, communication is a big issue, and as an elected representative, I have every right within the scope of my position to question all processes within the CBRM, mayor and council, as do each of you. The mayor then decided, with no additional conversation or communication outside of that one email, to accuse me in writing of threatening her and of her having underlying undertones of conspiracy. Both accusations were completely untrue, but will live forever in freedom of information, ready for anyone to judge me. Once again, it is my opinion that this email is disrespectful, unjustified, and certainly shows a lack of respect to my position and duties. You will find all supporting documentation attached, along with the section of our code of conduct pasted below for reference. Due to the time of year, I held off with my request for review until after the holiday, so I would appreciate having it investigated as soon as possible. Now,
I've got one more. I'm going to show a different document. I'm going to go to page 7 now, Marie.
All right.
And this one's from
Erica Shea.
And this one is her asking, well, let's just let everybody hear you.
It's actually her response to the fact that the mayor sent her information in regard, it's all in these emails. You can take a look through to see them yourself, trying to tell Erica how council members are basically racist. Basically, she's saying all kinds of crap she shouldn't be saying to people in emails.
So from Erica to the mayor to Elise McLean, which is the project manager for New Dawn, Mike Target, and Donald Calabrese. So we did look into who those other fellows were, but I forget who they were. They
are private owners. We do have but we know that one is owner of McFadgen's, one is different private owners.
Yeah.
Oh, this is another thread, is it?
Yeah. All right. So it starts off, the subject is no bodies, no investigation to date on this one, from Erica Shea, page 7.
All right. So that was on June 28th.
2022.
Okay. Subject. All right. This is appalling. I hope we see a time that the denial of these atrocities in and of itself is treated as a hate crime. I'd hang on to these emails for when that time comes, and otherwise not even acknowledge their pathetic existence through your response as brilliant, although your response is brilliant as usual, as always. Sorry guys, I'm ad-libbing here because I'm needing to blow it up. Here we go. I've read it so many times. Perhaps it's possible for you at the July council meeting to say something like it has been brought to my attention that some members of our community and our council are upset with the handling of Canada Day this year. And then a bomb-ass speech by you and all you on all of this bullshit that we volunteer to write for you. I feel like this is one of those, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. So is anybody else having a problem with Erica Shea volunteering her writing of speeches for the mayor and then using words of bomb-ass speech and then one of those, are you fucking kidding me moments? This is one of those, we'll just,
it's a very personal email, right? It's nothing to do with being like professional or I'm trying to get this is literally like two friends talking, and that would be fine with you and me, Janet, but these are people that we're taxpayer paying them, and Erica is getting an awful lot of money from our governments on all levels. And if she's a personal friend of our mayor
and writing her speeches and getting into sensitive matters that have nothing to do with her or the New Dawn, what has New Dawn got to do with Canada Day celebrations and the mishandling of what this council did? I don't feel that it had anything to do with them, and she wasn't privy to any of this information, and that's why this was a breach of code of conduct. And this is just, again, we're showing examples on how things are done inside that mayor's office. It's no different than when it was Cecil in there. She's just you know, wearing different clothing and different title. The only thing that really changed was the name. That's it. Everything else stayed the same. Corruption, in-camera meetings, and dealing with people outside of council. Who they think they are? They're working for themselves inside there. It's like
Well,
a cult.
she's using the excuse of having advisors, but again, an advisor should never be the CEO of a corporation, like that is actually receiving government grants and funds and such. It's supposedly a nonprofit, but
exactly. And so they're making profit. They're in there getting underhanded decisions that are supposed to be gone public. They're supposed to have tenders put out and have an actual competition, but there is no competition. There are tenders that are put out, but that's just for the sake of them to get information from other companies to see exactly what they can put together and maybe steal their information and put their tender together next time with something that they put together better. Whatever's
I
going
never
on
thought of that,
there,
Janet.
well, all I can see is just corruption on top of corruption and
Yeah,
layers and layers and layers of corruption. Okay, sorry, keep going.
Yeah, no, basically the ending was, it was basically, she was just saying, "Are you kidding me?" Educational moment, and you can lift us all up above this white wing conspiracy theory, spewing and point us in a more productive direction. Seriously, say the word, and we'll get a draft started for you. Kiss, hug.
Yeah, kiss, hug.
So that's the advisor going ahead and giving some advice to our mayor. So of course we've got also the human rights email, because she did actually, like, just as Erlene said, she was well aware that she was going to be doing this. Look at the email. You guys, we're going to put it down in the comments because we're not going through every one of these. That's up for you guys to look. I mean, it's all here, though. You've got a lot of different issues, though, to whack them all through.
Let's go.
I'm looking at page 9 as well here. Yes.
Excellent. So page 9 is November 2022, November. Then remember, the Rapid Housing Initiative was announced to the public in January. So January, the public got to be part of it and be able to put a bid in for this $5 million to build these houses. But this conversation with New Dawn and the mayor took place in November, and the email was in December of 2020. December 20th, 2022. So let's go ahead with this illegal meeting.
I want to let you, so can I just start us with page 10, which is Erlene's, this, and then that is the response to it, is page 9. Okay, because of the way email threads are, you guys all know. If you've had an email, you know.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Madam Mayor, I find this very interesting. This evening, I was at the grocery store and involved in a candid conversation about the RHI funding and various ideas of the possible means of distribution when they referred to a meeting back in November. According to them, less than a week after the announcement, you called for a meeting and met virtually with New Dawn, Jamie Baptiste's office, and the trades about the rapid housing funding. I said I didn't know anything about that, but that the meeting would have been out about the general stream because we met at a council today and were assured no formal meetings have taken place regarding the city stream with any group. I was told I was mistaken and that the city money was a very large portion of the meeting. Council was officially made aware of the city portion of the RHI funding just last week. Marie had stated that we were not made aware sooner because CMHC province asked to keep the information quiet until amounts and such were figured out. Madam Mayor, I had to go back and watch the meeting because just today you were asked if there was something on the funding discussed with New Dawn prior because of an email we all had received stating their interest and explaining all of the great work they had put to date. You said that it was your understanding that they were gearing up for the general stream, but now that we are here, you believe they will be shifting and would apply for the city portion as well. You even followed it up with the statement that it was just your understanding at this point. Yet you had this meeting over a month ago, and from the little conversation I had, it was most certainly about the interest in the CBRM's portion. I am sending this email to Marie and Council because I wanted to make sure we are all on the same page, as it would seem consistent information doesn't seem easy to come by lately. I am not sure what the next step will be with this, but after the holidays, there are some serious conversations to be had. Erlene.
All right, so back up to page 9. So to talk about that, what do you think, how did that make you feel knowing about all these private conversations and then they release information like it's brand new information and there's, come one, come all, and show us what you got and how you're going to help the community?
I think of what a waste of people's time this has been. Imagine all of these nonprofits running around trying to find anybody and everyone to go in with them. And then it's all just for nothing. It's, anyway.
So they wasted Townhouse's time. They wasted Seaton's time. They wasted, me going and finding somebody up in a different province here with the ready-made pods. Well, member two also got some of this money, but it was for them, and they actually put one of the pods in last week, and they're going to have the rest of their pods together, and all the rest of the housing will be complete in the next 10 months. New Dawn hasn't even got a single home there yet. They knew well ahead of anybody else. They were ahead of the game. They knew what was going on because, I mean, they orchestrated it, did they not, with our mayor personally? And yet they still, good morning, and they still haven't put anything out there yet to help anybody, except they sold some of their housing. So, I mean,
they're always trying to do that. They constantly are doing that, but sometimes it falls through. And I often wonder if it's because those people that are planning to buy realize, I don't want to put my foot in there. Do not want to be part of this little muddle that's going on in the CBRM. And we are never going to get from under this and get proper funding for different projects or things that are going to be beneficial to our island if we don't clean up this freaking corruption that is everywhere. Throughout every freaking, it seems, I don't know, it seems like veins of poison all through the freaking CBRM of people who have streams of money coming to them and nothing really ever getting done properly. I'll mention again, Cosset Heights, and there's just so much that needs to be discussed about where is this money? You are given it. And if Chief Terry Paul is given $5 million, just as we were, and he's got these pods going, and we know we've got children and homeless mothers downtown right now, and homeless fathers, single parents who've been thrown out of these stupid landlords' places, pardon me, but some of them are very, very mean people.
The renovations, the family, moving in, like the lies. It's like they just keep.
They are very much in need of housing more than anyone else. The children are the ones that need to be taken care of first, and they're the ones that are actually unhoused and being taken from their parents right now. They should have gone to that. That's my opinion, I guess, but I'm pretty sure it's a lot of people's opinion. If you have all of those places set out, and what about you? You were willing to give up your land entirely. You were like, listen, I've got some land. Would somebody like to come in here with some pods or whatever the hell you got? Crickets for Janet.
My land was deemed that they wouldn't put a septic on it. And thanks to, of course, what did I have at stake? Well, I wanted a place to live too. And I thought that was a fair deal to offer majority of my 700-foot waterfront swampy land on Sydney River. You
had a developer lined up. Like, I can't understand how it was, but now we do understand, right? Now we actually do understand. This was already in the makings and workings, and nobody else was ever going to get that money. And now I want other people to understand it and start questioning these things. I'm all for the Alley Center and everybody getting help, but I don't know that their help programs are the way I'd be organizing it, but nonetheless, that's not my business.
Right. That's a different conversation.
But the thing is, as much as they may have needed that housing, I say the children downtown without houses right now with their parents, they needed it.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of homeless going on here in Cape Breton, and it's scandalous. And there's a reason for it. It's because the wrong people keep getting good money and putting it to profits rather than public. So, all right.
And we know the mayor also was in with the nonprofits before this, right? She was big on that, right? But that seems to me, why aren't you helping all of the nonprofits get ahead a little? Find them their partners to get together with so that these things are successful instead of just only one group of people.
Look, you can't be friends with everyone. I mean, you can.
I guess because you
have to.
How much did New Dawn put in for her campaign again? I've forgotten.
I don't remember if it was 20
I forget the figures, but somebody should look that up because we do know that they did put in a good deal for her campaign, a nonprofit.
20 or 50. Is
this when they collect rent from these people in their nonprofit housing, in their affordable housing, where does that money go? Does that go towards the mayor's campaign? Does that go towards new businesses that they're creating to funnel more money? Or is this, honest to God, such a great organization like people are trying to tell me it is? Because after seeing these things, I can't really look past that. I wanted to be on the side of them. I defended them actually originally, wouldn't even print anything about the fact that they were trying to sell until I actually knew they really were. And understanding that there's nothing that's going to help anybody in December when landlords are able to raise the rent to whatever the hell they want. So anyway.
Exactly. I'm looking at the list now, so you can keep on reading. CBRM website showing I'm bringing up the campaign list now so we can see exactly
Good.
how
Good.
much was.
Okay, I'll read the response from the mayor, I guess, basically to Erlene and all of council. Councillor, New Dawn has been meeting with staff, myself, and community stakeholders, developing ideas and project ideas for supportive housing, like many other groups in the community, since well before I took office as the mayor. These meetings are no different than the ones I attended with you on the North Side Food Bank Seaton project, as an example. I will always grant my time to groups working to better our community. I'm actually meeting with CBU in New Dawn tomorrow to talk about housing ideas and how we can collaborate around new projects. This is my job as mayor and yours as councillor. I'd love to know what that went like. Did CBU and New Dawn actually come together and decide to do some housing? Because I didn't see any yet.
No, and just on this weekend, I heard the machines over there, and I found it. Let's see, for Amanda McDougall. Hold on, mayor candidates, the funds. So we've got name of agent. So Erica Shea was Amanda's agent. Like how I was Dingling Archie's agent. Erica Shea was
interesting, that too.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So
But she's a nonprofit, and that's the way Amanda is portraying herself to be a nonprofit. I'm all for nonprofit, all for the poor. I'm going to help everyone, and she helps her one friend's group of people. That's the way I see it. But I'm a little jaded. Let's face it, right? But
so many.
Yeah, she says, I will always grant my time.
Keep going.
Did you find? I will always grant my time to groups working to better our community. I'm actually meeting with CBU in New Dawn tomorrow and blah, blah, blah. The meeting you cite was held on November 14th, and the intent from New Dawn had always been the RHI project stream. But with CMHC announcing CBRM as a city stream recipient on November 10th, a mere 4 days prior, IME's office was asked to attend and provide any information they had about how that would change a potential application. The extent of that clarity was there was no information on details, and we would all keep each other informed going forward. These meetings had previously been around what lands CBRM have, and that may be considered for housing and the zoning implications. Up till last week, when CBRM staff met with CMHC, none of us has any details on how this program would roll out. Erlene, the email threats of serious conversation to be had and underlying tones of some sort of conspiracy are really not necessary. No one is out to harm one another or circumvent the process. This is about growing our community and helping those who are most vulnerable. I don't have the authority to grant groups money through RHI. That will ultimately be a council decision. I am the mayor, and people come to me because they know I'm passionate about the cause and leave politics up to the side when I offer my time and assistance. I will advise when staff are prepared to bring forward more information regarding RHI process. This is going to require a tremendous amount of work and meetings to get this money out to community projects in the coming weeks. That is and will continue to be my priority and focus. Well, it clearly wasn't, because they almost gave the money back, as you recall, because New Dawn was the only one that was going to be, that had a proper, and I don't understand what the criteria was and why you weren't allowed to know it. How did you fail at succeeding at getting that grant money if you didn't even know what the criteria was?
So here's a couple of things that are standing out to me right now. Erica Shea and Rob Calabrese. We've seen both of their names in email.
Yeah, in the email exchange.
Yeah, both contributors of $500. So next down, a couple of more down the list, we've got Rankin and Marie McSween, which was the CEO and the president of New Dawn, but they're doing it personally, not through the organization. And that was another $1,000. So I'm just going through them because it doesn't seem like they've literally put the name New Dawn in there. No. They've taken each employee from it and they've listed them singly. Okay. So again, she was the mayor's, basically, we'll say, campaign manager on this one, helped her put the whole thing through and helped them get elected. So I guess when you do all the legwork, there's supposed to be a kickback for it. And if you go through this list, you can go through all these names of all these contributors. We've even got numbered contributors in there and I would just bet that some of these numbered contributors could lead very well back to names we've already mentioned. All right. Or non-for-profits that we've mentioned. So that list is extensive and you can go in there and look and see it. It is, I'll put this in the chat.
Yeah. And as for this whole email thing, if you wouldn't mind putting that in there so everybody can just look at it at their own convenience and they can read it the way they'd like to and interpret it the way they'd like to, because I think it's pretty clear. I guess what my next thing is, I'm wondering, where are all of these nonprofits that did hear about the Rapid Housing Initiative in January? Is there anybody out there who could explain to me, other than Janet, what was the criterion? What was it that you needed to do in order to get it? Because New Dawn seemed to was the only one with an application and all of its ducks in a row and everybody ready for them to go. And why wasn't everybody else given that same opportunity?
Well, that would make it fair. What part of unfair trade aren't you gathering here, Marie? This isn't about keeping things fair. This is about a system that is meant to work with a united front. They're not supposed to be within arm's length of each other, remember? And last week we researched that term to see what it meant. And it meant that inside a government, you're not supposed to be working directly, like using advisors outside of council to help you make decisions that benefit them financially. So that is a huge issue. And that is the issue that we brought up to you today. CBC thought it was important. Mary Campbell at the Cape Breton Spectator also thought it was important. Erlene, the counselor herself, seen and smelt what was going on inside of there. And then she got pegged as being, Erlene is not sincere. There's, something's up with Erlene. She went from being deputy mayor. Now she's just a counselor. So, I mean, these guys are bullies. They're absolute bullies in there.
Now, she was due to be gone anyway. It turns out after 2 years, you're done as deputy mayor. But I find it it's very disturbing that how did James Edwards really get in there? I'm wondering who voted that clown in there. Pardon me, James Edwards, but you are a joke to me.
Right?
I don't understand what's going on. I think it was who is that? Frank Axford. If somebody does the paper, I remember there was an article. Yeah, somebody said something about James Edwards was actually caught trying to run over one of the constituents when they were trying to oppose the Donkin mine. And I'm like, I need to find that. If anybody has that article, please forward that to Janet, because I'd love to read that. It's something else. I was like, wow, like what he gets mad. He's like a bit of a hothead. If you're going to get upset over people protesting, you can't be using your vehicle. But apparently, that again, no reprimanding, nothing ever happens, right? How is it when you're found to be breaching the code of conduct that you just get like a little slap on the hand, when really it's your whole job is to be confidential and to be working for the benefit of all CBRM residents, not for one particular group of people who is your bestie, basically? Kiss hug is all I can think of.
I know.
Who does that in an email? I don't even do that to you, Janet. And you'd like, come on, like we're even more professional than that.
I know.
Like it's just odd to me that was like, but that's the way it all works, I guess, right? Like they are just human beings. It's just that, and I don't expect them to be infallible. I just expect them to have a little bit of integrity. And to be able to stand up for us as citizens, the way I find that Erlene actually does. I know she may not be everybody's favorite or anything, and she never answers me back in an email, which is absolutely fine, Erlene. If you ever see this, I honestly want to say that's okay. Kudos to you anyway, because you don't want to get involved. I get it, but I want you to know you do good.
Yeah, and I also sent Erlene an email, and the email goes like, I'll just read it. Ouch. Let's see. Broken my leg. Let's go into my sent items. So I had asked, hi, Erlene. I was hoping you had time in the near future to discuss the email chain published in the Cape Breton Spectator, which was actually published in the CBC article. So my bad. I would like your side of how controversy started. As it seems, Canada Day racial slurs seem to be a distraction from the other point you were making, which was about the Rapid Housing Initiative. So they kind of had two bouncing around there. They were both really important, but it's kind of convoluted the way that they got mixed in there with each other because it should have been kept straight. But anyways, I feel you were making the point you were making about the Rapid Housing Initiative and discussions the mayor had with Erica Shea and the others from New Dawn before the money was even announced publicly. I give you my word, I would never want to tarnish your reputation or make you look bad. This will be 100% verbatim from the email chain, and I will only ask you the points that you were making in the email, as from reading it, I find they avoid your concerns and change the topic from any point from New Dawn. The New Dawn had no business knowing any of the Rapid Housing Initiative before the public did. So thank you for your input on this subject. And it was crickets. So that's what happens. Every time I could show you email after email. Good morning, Trina. Oh, thank you, darling. So it doesn't matter who we send an email to. I can't say that I didn't get any response from Mike Kellaway, because in all honesty, I did.
He does answer me, but
look, and as far as
what
Gail
about?
goes, Derek Mumbercat stepped up and literally cut through that red tape for her on a Friday
Well,
and had keys on a Friday afternoon. So we can't
I'm
not.
surprised, but
And it's
kudos where it's due. Like, that is really good of him, and I do want to say that was good work. And I'm surprised, honestly, but I'm very good. I'm glad with that. Yes. Glad with that.
So it all depends on, I guess, how it gets portrayed out into the system. But the way that things are, a lot of times they get tucked under the carpet and there's no action taken. And then things will come to the surface, like in these newspaper articles, and then it's crickets. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nothing's been accomplished of it. Nothing's changed. Nothing's progressed. And yet things move on. Next order of agenda.
So New Dawn has the money. Everybody else is still homeless. We're going to be waiting until what year until it's actually done? And it's for a facility that's going to have residents in it and everything, which is just lovely for those people. But I'm thinking of the children out there right now who are trying to go to school, who are being taken away from their parents because they do not have a house to be in. And CSA cannot allow a child to be homeless. And that's not their fault. They do have to take care of the children. But the thing is, you got a transition house that is all the beds are full half the time. Like, this is not working out for us as CBRM. We are impoverished. And I get the fact that we have a lot of addiction and a lot of needs and a lot of mental health issues too. But I think the government has to step up on other areas there. As for our housing, it's children that need the housing.
When it comes to these corporations, like I did the video of down at the port, and I smelt that you can't just happen to smell diesel or oil, and I smelt it. The smell is what brought me there. Just like a restaurant ventilates their smell so it attracts people there. Well, the port didn't realize that stink that was coming from their training exercise was actually stinky. And if you're training and trying to show 3 people a yearly emergency response, because apparently Ricky Whitehat and whoever was in the boat, they are a super team, and if anything goes awry and we have a big mess on our water, we don't need very many people there. We don't need any fire response. We don't need the Coast Guard. We don't need, even the port officials. They only had 3 people from Imperial.
It makes me want to believe in that case, right, that it had to just be a drill. But why wouldn't they just let us know that as the public before it happens, so that people aren't concerned? If it's really a drill, then say this is a put something out there stating.
Organization puts a post on their page letting people know what's going on.
Not after the fact, not after it's completed and after somebody has been concerned about it.
Yeah. And then when I went back to see it, as quick as I put my video up, they were so fast to get that out of there. We don't want anybody to see our training. Well, why is training top secret? What is if it's so open.
Maybe because their equipment has a broken handle. So that was Irving, right? That's a private company with broken handles on their emergency equipment. I think everybody heard that. What I'm worried about is, what the hell? Okay, did anybody ever clean up that Irving spill from last year? Like, if anybody's wondering why we were concerned about this, because they tend to keep things under their hat until it's absolutely necessary to let the public know, obviously.
Yeah.
Because last year, everybody will recall that there was a big spill. And I want to know why we had to ask Irving to help us clean it as a municipality. Why were we in charge of cleaning that? Anyway, that's another topic. That's another one for the riverbanks.
Our dollars, our taxpayer dollars going up in, well, I guess they're going down in oil.
Down in oil.
Yeah. So guys, if you have any concerns, anything that you would like to me and Marie to do a little digging on, and you have some articles of contention, anything at all, if you're thinking about it and it's on your mind, you can be guaranteed it's been on somebody else's mind, and it could be on our minds too. There's just so much to cover, and there's so much cover up going on. Literally, everyone has got their finger pointing at everyone else because it's nobody's fault. All right. So that's the kind of place we're living in. And as for politics, it's like corruptics.
Mhm.
Whoever's the best at portraying their best corruptic, ways are the ones that wins. If you can bluff and bullshit, you're the winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner over here. So
And you got to have a lot of private friends that are in nonprofit corporations who are going to fund your campaign. Don't forget that. You need that, apparently.
So I looked at the contributions list in the mayor's campaign. The Verschuin, Annette Verschuin was her biggest campaign.
Yeah, she was. I remember us looking that up in the beginning when she was first running. We were looking at that stuff and going, well, I don't know what, we're never going to make any traction like this.
No. And because the same people keep
Big
getting
money.
different piles of money, things are never going to change.
Money, big names. Yeah,
No.
and nobody, no little guy is ever going to really be able to get ahead if everybody is allowing this kind of crap to keep continuing, where we just kind of like push it under the rug and allow them to push it under the rug, put it in a news report, and then carry on like tomorrow's business is, like nothing happened yesterday, right?
Look, they got an Etch-a-Sketch in there, Marie, and every time something comes up, issue of contention, they just talk about it for a second, and then they'll shake their little Etch-a-Sketch board. It never happened. Move on.
Yeah, it feels like it. And I do want to move on from some things, right? Because some things do get resolved eventually. But in our CBRM, it doesn't feel like it is getting. It seems like we just keep coming back to the same mire of people with the same money. And we are not getting anywhere with our own housing problems or our taxes going up. Like another issue I have, I don't know how you people feel about us paying for the buses as the municipality when it's clearly David Dingwall's investments that are using the bus. I mean, I'm one person who uses the bus. I'll admit it. Okay, I'll pay my taxes on that, but many of you people do not. And I'm going to tell you, it seems a little galling when I'm standing on the side of the road and can't get the bus because the thing is filled. And then the students are complaining the bus service is so bad. We put in a lot of money for the buses, but why are we? It's not our citizens. Like, there are citizens when they're here, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not the tax-paying citizens that are taking that bus in general. What is David Dingwall spending anything towards our transit? Maybe he is, and I'm not aware. Somebody let me know that because it's been bugging me as I was standing on the side of the road without a bus to pick me up the other day.
Exactly. So again, guys, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate your comments. We appreciate your time and any information that you want to have us looking into. We appreciate tidbits of info as well. Have a great week. It's a great day out there. Get outside, get some vitamin D in because the days are getting shorter, baby.
They are.
Janet Marie with Cape Breton Originals out. Have a good